Any questions, anything, any issues?
Sir, see for last week's the video you posted on YouTube, I don't think you posted it.
Last week, YouTube?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, okay. That means that. Okay, anyway, what, anything else?
No, sir.
All right, no worries. Let's start. Can I ask you guys something? Like, why it shows me here that this student is waiting in the waiting, joined and wait in the waiting room. Why you cannot just straight come in? Why I have to click on admit, then you come in? I always allow the student to come in.
I think it's to prevent crashes.
Sorry?
It's to prevent like people, just anybody joining.
Yeah, I don't know why it is like this. Okay, anyway. Yes, week 6 is not uploaded. Okay, I'll link it up, no big deal. All right. Okay. This week, we're gonna talk about market failures and government actions. Yes. Okay, so our topic today will be social efficiency, marginal social benefit and cost. We'll talk about marginal cost and marginal social benefit, marginal social cost we'll talk about. Market failure and free rider problem, externalities and public goods, government intervention and public provision, correcting the market failure, and Pigouvian tax, environmental policy alternative. So these are the topics we're going to talk today. Social efficiency. What is that? That's a good thing. Enter the waiting room. Yeah. Okay. Nothing like this. Yeah. There's nothing there. All right. So we'll talk about social efficiency. First, we'll talk. Social benefit and cost while producing and consuming a good cannot be measured directly and are not taken into account in the normal market equilibrium price and quality supplied. See what the first line said? Social benefit and cost while producing and consuming a good. So when you are producing something and when you are consuming something, okay, in both the situation, you will have to think about social benefit and social cost. Okay, when you add the word marginal, it becoming social benefit from one extra unit. When you add the term marginal in cost, it will be social cost of producing one extra unit. So to understand these things, we have to understand what is social cost, what is social benefit. Okay. All right, let's start. Okay, so this says that some benefits and cost while producing and consuming a good cannot be measured directly. You cannot measure it directly. And it is not taken into account in the normal market equilibrium. It is not like our normal market equilibrium system. Okay, it's a little bit different, but it is based the same way, but it is a little bit different. This is competitive market is efficient in terms of allocation of resources if there is no externalities. So competitive market is efficient in terms of allocation of resources if there is no externalities. If there is no externalities, now we have to know, oh my God, these new terms, externalities, social benefit, social cost. We have to learn these terms. Let me tell you about what externality is. Externality is this. When you produce or consume something, when you produce or consuming something, what happens then? This consumption or production has an impact on the society. Has an impact in the society. It could be good, it could be bad. If it is good, positive externality. If it is bad, negative externality. Now, let me give you another example. Externality will come in this way. When you make a transaction, two parties involved, buyer and seller, or you can say producer and consumer. So when you produce or consuming these goods, out of this buyer and seller or the producer or consumer, these two parties, there is another, if there is third party is being impacted or affected, the third party will be affected, these will be known as externalities. Make sense? Let's say you buy a pack of cigarette. Cigarette producer and the cigarette consumer, these are the people. The smoker and the producer are involved in here in this transaction. So when you're smoking and leaving your secondhand smoke in the society, third party, other people who is non-smoker is having some effect. It could be good, it could be bad. Of course, tobacco is bad, negative externality. Okay? You learn, you got a degree from the university. You got a degree from the university. Okay? And what happened is this, it's you and the university is the making transaction. You paying, university is producing it, you are actually the client, consuming this education. Okay? Achieving this education. And who is getting, how the society is getting impact out of this? Because of this education, you will do good to the society. Your behavior will different than other people. You will treat people differently. Society is expecting a better behavior, better outcome from educated people than uneducated people. I'm not saying uneducated people cannot behave good. Of course, they can behave good as well. But because of this education, you are smiling to it. You see a person, you go and help. You are a doctor. You're helping the society. Society is getting benefit out of it. You are a plumber. That's also comes through education. You're helping the society. These things are positive things. Okay? This is actually positive externality. Okay. So now, how do you actually say what is social benefit and social cost? The society is benefited, social benefit. Society is hampered, damaged, social cost. What is marginal social benefit? Now the thing comes up equal to this. Marginal social benefit equal to marginal benefit. Look, when you say marginal social benefit, we talk about good things. Okay, we talk about good things. So marginal benefit plus positive externality. This is marginal social benefit. Marginal benefit, here it is here, marginal benefit plus positive externality. Because marginal social benefit. Marginal social cost, marginal cost plus negative externality. Okay. So what the marginal cost? The production cost they mean. Okay. Marginal production cost plus negative externality. Okay. So this says here, if you see a product have greater marginal social benefit than the marginal social cost, you produce more or consume more. We want these things to come more in the society. If you see that marginal social cost is high than the marginal social benefit, we don't want this item. Okay, we produce it less, we consume it less too. You can ask me a question, if we produce and consume more, then what happens? Government going to interfere. How? We'll show it. So how do you actually achieve social efficiency? We achieve social efficiency by making marginal social benefit is equal to marginal social cost. That's the way you make the marginal social benefit. Okay? Cool. Next. What? Yeah, market failure. When market fails, says market fails when private, look, private means when a single person is consuming something or a single individual firm is producing something, that's private. Market fails when private marginal benefit and marginal cost are not equal to marginal social benefit or marginal social cost. So look, so private marginal benefit, okay, marginal cost is not equal to marginal social cost. Marginal benefit is not equal to marginal social benefit. Makes sense what he's saying? A little bit complicated, I understand. Okay, but I'll explain it a little bit more. Okay, I'll explain a little bit more. What do they mean by this? So marginal cost, when you produce one extra item. When you produce one extra item, there is marginal cost. Let's say to produce one extra item, you produce one extra cigarette, tobacco. Okay, produce one extra item. It costs you, for example, let's say $2 to production cost. Okay, when you sell it to the society, now it will have impact, bad effect on society too. It has negative externality. So look, the marginal cost to produce is $2. When you add the cost is make to the society as well, the secondary smoke. See that? The cost is making the society. Is it within this $2? No, it's more than $2 now. So marginal cost is not equal to marginal social cost. Marginal social cost has some My social cost, actually I should write it down here to show you guys better. Marginal social cost is equal to marginal private cost plus production cost, private cost plus negative externality. Okay? Negative externality. Look, so marginal social cost will be equal to marginal cost, marginal production cost or marginal cost, and marginal, let's keep it marginal cost. That will be better to understand. Plus negative externality. If negative externality is equal to 0, then we understand it has no social cost. Then we know that marginal social cost is equal to marginal cost if negative externality is equal to 0. Hope it makes sense now. So marginal cost is not equal to marginal social cost because there is some negative externality involved. Marginal benefit is not equal to marginal social benefit. At the same time, marginal, not social cost, social benefit is not equal to marginal benefit or marginal private benefit plus positive externality. Okay? When you will see the positive externality equal to 0, then you will see marginal social benefit will be equal to marginal benefit. Negative externality equal to 0, marginal social cost will be equal to marginal cost. So we say market is not efficient, market fails when there is negative externalities. Okay? The market is unable to allocate resources efficiently if, because of this situation. Okay? So major reasons for market failure. What are the main reasons for market failure? Number 1, externalities. 1 is externalities. 2 is public goods. We'll talk what is public goods. We have these things. The 3 is monopoly. Monopoly means there is no competition. Non-existence of property rights. Property rights. Oh my God, imagine this. You worked whole year, too hard you worked. You earned, let's say $60,000, $70,000. You bought a car by $20,000. And you can't say this is your car. You have no right on your property. Anybody comes up and says this is his car. Market will fail. Why market will fail? People will not buy the goods again because they know that it's not their property. Lack of knowledge about the merit of a good or services. Another problem is when people do not have the knowledge about the merits of a good or services. Okay. Competitive market prices and outputs do not take into account of the external benefit of cost, which are borne by the society. So yes, so when someone is producing something or consuming something, that time they do not consider that this thing is going to bring problem to the society and these problems comes up. They do not think about these things. Okay. And yeah, nothing much. Let's move on. Actually, I have already discussed externality in here. I've already done this one. This says here, the activity of one party that affects the welfare of another and is not reflected in the market price or quantity. Okay. Cost or benefit, externality is a cost or a benefit that is borne by third party who is not involved in the transaction, not involved in the production or consumption of a private good. Two types of externality: positive externality, negative externality. Positive externality are benefits that a third party may enjoy without producing or consuming this. Negative externalities are costs that are borne by the bystander while he or she is not producing or consuming these goods. Like example, pollution, noise, secondhand smoke. Okay, these things. Like, remember there is one thing like people get fighting on the street, drugs, negative things. Equilibrium in any market under perfect competition. Okay, we have done these things already. All right, let's move on. Negative externality is the pollution. Here is the market failure. Look, so this is the thing is, look, you can see the price, demand, all this is a perfectly competitive market. You can see that. This is a diagram for perfectly competitive market. This blue line, marginal cost or supply curve, we call this one. Remember these things? In competition chapter, we showed this thing, that marginal cost will be acting as a supply curve. Yeah. Okay. And red one, marginal social cost. Okay. Look, external cost from production. When you produce these things, external cost will be coming up. Okay. So marginal social cost and the demand curve is intersected. This is our general equilibrium. But because this has some negative externalities, we will produce less and consuming less. So actually our production should be in here because it has some marginal social cost. Okay, so production and consumption should not be at Q1, it should be at Q2. Okay. And if you look at here, this is benefit. Okay. In this case, our normal or general equilibrium is in here, marginal cost. Our supply curve and demand curve is in here. Since this item is doing good to the society, this is doing good to the society. What are you going to do? You're going to produce more and consume more of this item. You said already in the past, remember? You said it in the previous slides, you said it. Yeah. If marginal social benefit is greater than social cost, you produce more or consume more. Okay. That's what we mean here. So we'll, since these things is good thing, we want to produce it more and we want to consume it more too. Okay. All right. So this is actually our production side. We talked about here production side. Okay. So if something is negative, we will produce it less. If this is something is positive, we will produce it more. Okay. Consumption, the same way. So in this case, so look at here. In this year, we showed you from the demand curve, from the supply curve perspective, we showed you. From the supply perspective, we showed you these things. Okay, supply less. Here, supply more. Now we'll show you from the demand perspective, consumer's perspective. Okay. All right. So here you see that this is your external cost, demand curve. Demand will be less. When your demand will be less, demand curve will be shifting to the left. Right? Yes. Something is positive. So general equilibrium is the blue one. Something is positive. Okay. We will consume it more. Okay. So demand will be shifting to the right. Demand will increase, shifting to the right. Okay. Now you get the point. All right, so the externality and output, we already know the answer. We already know the answer that when something is positive, produce it more. Something is produce more and consume more too. Something is negative, produce less, consume also less. That's the whole point. Okay. Whenever there are positive externalities and private market is not taking that into account, the production and consumption of the good would be lower, prices would be higher. Okay, price will be high. Whenever there are external costs that is not taken into account the private market, there will be too much producer and consumer and the market in the high will be lower. How do we remove these externalities? Okay. How do we remove the externalities? So there is something now the government, look, who is so nice person to do this type of things? Which producer is so good they will just do things like this? Something is bad, I'm not going to produce it, it's my business, I'm not going to produce it. No, they're not like that nice. Okay, so then we're going to start now private negotiation first. This is called Quast theorem, we call that. This is called Quast theorem. Okay, who invented this one? This is actually suggested by Ronald Quast. He won a Nobel Prize in 1991 on this one. Ronald H. Quast theorem. Okay, so his was a paper name was The Problem of Social Cost. Okay, they'll go for negotiation. Let me give you an example. Okay, let's say that orange orchard. There is an orange orchard in a place, in a location. There is a big orange orchard. A person is having an orange orchard. So what he did is that next to his land, another person is there. He has some, he has a farm of honeybees. He has a farm of honeybees. Now what they did is that they have too much of orange orchard. Orange orchard is too big. Okay, so this honeybees goes and they take honey, collect honey from this orange orchard. The flower is there, they go in there, get the honeybees, and they do these things. Okay, that's the way it's going on. The pollination takes place, and so the honey farmer is very happy. The orange orchard is too big, and his bees can go and get the honey from there, and that's good for him. Nice. Orange orchard owner, he is also happy. The bees are coming into his farm. They are helping the oranges to have more fruits because they are having pollination is there. They're doing well. The pollination is in there. Okay, that's nice. So they are having they're in good terms, right? So they will like each other. The orange orchard owner and the honeybee owner, they are good. They will be good friends because they're helping each other. But the problem occurs in here. Problem comes in this way. If it happens that there is not enough bees there, orchard is too big, there is not enough bees. So he can complain to his neighboring friend, can you please increase your number of bees? His friend will ask, why? Why should I do that? What for? Okay, because my orchard is too big, you don't have enough bees in here to actually help me with pollination. Do you think he's happy to do that? Because his friend needs more bees? Maybe he's not capable of investing more to get more bees. Maybe he does not have enough money or capital in there. Or other way around, for example. Orchard is too small and he has lots of bees. He's going and asking the orchard owner, can you please increase your orchard? Do you think it's easy to increase like that? No. He needs to buy more land, he needs to make more plantation, more fertilizer, lots of things involved here. See, that's how the problem starts. So now the social benefit is not actually getting to the efficient level. What they're going to do actually? They are going to actually make a negotiation. They're making a negotiation. Okay? They have to come to a negotiation. That okay, what negotiation are you going to make? Okay. If you need more bees from my farm, that's fine, you need to pay me. Or if you need more orchard, more bigger orchard, pay me. They come to a negotiation. This is a private negotiation. Make sense? This is Quast theorem. This is Quast theorem. Okay? Another way, think this way. Some of you might be living with flatmates. Let's say one of flatmate smokes in the house. Negative externalities. It smokes in the room and it bothers you because you're a non-smoker. What to do now? Negotiation. You cannot smoke inside the house or pay me. When you smoke, I'll be outside of the room. You pay me for this. Negotiation. The world is running on negotiation. Too many people on the street, just think about it. Too many people walking on the street. How many of them hit each other? They don't collide with each other. Why? There is an implied negotiation. When you're walking on the street, the two person is walking, okay, coming like this, and one goes this way, one goes the other way. They're not hitting each other, colliding each other, right? Sometimes it happens. In movies, I have seen a lot of time. Then the actor and actress, they get like hero and heroine, they collide each other. Then new movie comes up, romantic thing comes up. That's different story, love story movies. Normally in our daily life, when you're on the street, when you walk, you see, I take this side of the street, you take the other side of the other portion of the pedestrian. You don't need to go and sign any paper. Implied you're negotiating the walkway. Who's that? Yu Zhengxian. Okay, this happens. That's a negotiation. So this is the theory of the problem of social cost, and Mr. Ronald H. Quast developed these theories. Okay. All right. So economic impact of positive externality. Okay. You can see here, you can see this diagram, you can see this line, this is demand curve, right? This is demand curve. This is supply, sorry, this is demand curve, this is supply curve. Supply curve is 1, so demand curve is changing. So can you tell me which side of positive externality is shown in here? This is positive externality. Okay. So tell me now, is this consumer side or the producer side? Is consumer perspective or producer perspective? Can anybody tell me here? Anyone?
Is it producer?
This is producer. Are you sure about it? Look at which line is changing. Demand curve or supply curve?
Demand.
Demands. Demand is connected with whom? Producer or consumer?
Consumers.
It's consumer's perspective. Right? So what they're saying here is this, look. So this says the market generates this quantity. This is our, and this positive side. So of course, you're going to increase the demand. So demand curve shifting to the right, this one. So market general equilibrium point is in here. I think you guys are not see this. This is the one is general equilibrium point. This one. This is positive externalities, positive thing. We want to have it more, consume it more. We want to consume it more. So this is will be demand curve should be in here, shifting to the right. So this one we will say the social efficient quantity, this one, this much we should produce. Then it will become social efficient quantity. Okay, but no, the private producers, they feel comfortable to produce here because they think only the market equilibrium quantity. They do not think about the social equilibrium quantity. Make sense? If they produce this much quantity D, then it is best for the society. But producers do not consider the social need. They consider the market needs. Demand and supply they think about. So this is the production line. They're producing at C, not at D. As a result, we have a gap. This triangle is created. This is called dead weight loss. This is called dead weight loss. Okay? That's what they mean here. Now, let's talk about public goods. So, to understand the public goods and these things, you have to understand two things very important. Non-rivalry and non-excludability. What is non-rivalry? Non-rivalry means when one person's consumption of the good does not keep the others from consuming it. One person's consumption of good will not make any effect on another person's production, another person's consumption. Let's say there are 10 pieces of cake. 10 pieces of cake in the table. So 10 pieces allocated to 10 people. One person's come in, okay? He take one. There is 9 more left for the other people's. But he takes another one. 8 of them is left for other people. So when you're consuming something more, when you're consuming something, it is having effect on other people's consumption. Okay, that's called non-rivalry. Non-excludability. Here, another person, one person's, I shouldn't say one person, I should say the right of using an item. Rights of using an item. This is called excludability, non-excludability. When you exclude someone from using item, like for example, there is a Centennial Park. Sydney Centennial Park or Hyde Park, for example. Okay, Hyde Park in Sydney CBD, for example. In Hyde Park, there is a bench. Is there anybody has a right to tell another person, you cannot sit here, this is mine? Can anybody? No.
No.
It's free for everybody. Anybody can sit. So this is non-excludability. It means that nobody can be excluded from using it. But if you have purchased a special chair for yourself, you take the chair there and you open your chair and sit in there, like camp chair, for example, camping chair. You can ask anybody not to touch your chair. Don't touch it. Because it's private. You can exclude people from using it. Okay, this is called non-excludability. Rivalry, when the number of the goods will be reduced, so the other persons will have less for consumption. Okay. That's called non-rivalry. Okay, now which leads to the free rider problem. Someone start to use an item without, okay, paying for it. That's called free rider problems. Okay, this is called free rider problem. A person can consume it without paying for it. Free rider. Okay, now we'll talk about 4 different things we'll talk. I think we have it in here somewhere. Let me see. Yeah. 4 different things we'll talk in here. Look, private goods, public goods, common goods or common resources, or club goods or toll goods. 4 different types of goods. They are actually categorized on the basis of excludability and non-rivalry. Okay? Excludable item, excludable, non-excludable. Rivalrous, non-rivalrous. Okay? Private good. Private good will have both. You can exclude people, and also if someone use it, it will be reduced in consumption for other people's. That is called private goods. Private goods is both rivalrous and excludable. I own and drive my sports car. I paid for it and I drive it. While I'm driving it, no one else can use it. Drive it. I'm the only one who drive. And I don't let people who did not pay for my car drive it anyway. See that? That's called private goods. Public goods, a public good is both non-rivalrous, okay? Non-rivalry, there is no rivalry. There is no excludability as well. There is no rivalry and there is no excludability as well. Both. That's public goods. Common goods. Common goods are rivalry, they're rivalrous, but not non-excludable. Okay? For example, fish in the ocean. Fishes in the ocean. Okay? You have some fish, there are some fish in the ocean, in Australian Ocean, there are some fish. If you catch 20 fish, there is 20 fish less now for the other citizens to catch. It means when you catch it, it's reduce the number. It means it's rivalry, rivalrous. Can you stop someone from catching the fish from the ocean? You cannot. Anybody can go and catch, right? Yes. No. If there is a fish in a private farm or a private lake or private pond, then you can say, oh, no, this is my place. Nobody can fish in here. I can fish only. But in the ocean, no, you cannot. It's for everybody. This is called common resources. Club goods or toll goods, this is both. Like, it is non-rivalrous and non-excludable too. Both. Non-rivalrous are also excludable. Okay? You can exclude people who is not a member of this club goods. Who is member, he is the only. Now, how it is non-rivalrous? It is not going to reduce in numbers. That's why non-rivalrous. For example, let's say Fox TV, Netflix. If you are not in the club, if you're not a subscriber, you cannot use it. Only a subscriber can use it. That's why this is club. You can exclude people. Excludability is there. But can we stop the numbers of people to join the club? No. Anybody can come here, anybody can watch any movie. 2,000 people is watching Game of Thrones today, and the person can watch it too. No big deal. It's okay. Club groups. Now I'll talk about cost-benefit analysis. Okay. How much of a public good should be produced? Public goods are the goods that we produce within the country, produced by government for everybody. Okay. How many police should be on the street? How big should be our national defense? That's a good question. So we do the cost-benefit analysis. So this cost-benefit analysis was first introduced by a French engineer named Jules Dupuy. Okay, he first started this in 1930s. So government will see, let's say someone living in the middle of the desert, the middle of the Alice Spring, someone is living in there, and he's asking for internet connection or a highway. Government will think, for one person, I need to make all this road and everything. Really? He doesn't see any cost. The costing is too high. Benefit is going to only one person or one family. Yeah, government interested. But if that place, let's say 500 or 500 is also less if you compare with the cost and benefit. 500 is also less. If you think about, let's say, 10,000 families moved in one area and they do not have a telephone line. Government will think, yes, a lot of people is going to get benefit in there, 10,000 family. If 5 people in one family, or let's say 3 people in one family, or 4 people in one family, so it's 4,000 people are in there. And they will see how much it will cost them, how much benefit the people will get out of them. They analyze these things. Okay. You also do it every single day in your daily life, isn't it? You will think, should I go to the campus for class or should I stay at home? Cost benefit. What is the benefit? So method they use is net present value method and the internal rate of return method. So net NPV is net present value. If NPV is positive, go for it. If net present value is positive, go for it. Okay. Because benefits come in future, they must be discounted. Okay. So discounted value benefit, if the discounted value benefit is greater than discounted value cost. So how do they mean by these things? For example, let's say the benefit is not for only 1 day or 1 week, it's for a long time, whole life, for example. Okay. So what they do is this, they think that how long? Let's say next lifetime, infinity years. They use a present value. They will use a present value formula. Where is that present value formula? I'll show you here. Look, present value formula. Future value divided by 1 plus I to the power n. I is discount rate. Rate of discount is I. N is number of years. So this is the thing, formula they use. Okay. All right. So present value is the term, a current worth of future sum of money or a stream of cash flows given a specified rate of return. Future cash flows are discounted at the discount rate, and the higher the discount rate, lower the present value of the future cash flow is. Okay. Now, next topic is monopoly. We already discussed the monopoly. Monopoly is another reason that there will be market failure because of monopoly. Okay. So this says here, monopoly power is another reason for market failure since it fails to equate the marginal social benefit equal to marginal social cost. Somebody try to text me or something. Chatting. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay, it's all right. I have nothing to do with these things. Okay.
Is that fine, sir?
You don't have to tell me anything about it. It's all good. It's your choice.
I just said that, you know.
Okay. All right. Next, let's move on. Natural monopoly are excludable but not rival. Fire protection, cable TV, utility production, railways, uncongested toll roads, ideas, these things are natural monopolies. Okay. A natural monopoly is a monopoly in which it is most efficient, okay, to certain goods or services by a single firm protected by the government. It normally does because of security reasons. Like Sydney Water. Government cannot let water go to any private sector. Okay. Same as electricity too, controlled by the government. You can argue with me, no, we always buy electricity from private companies. AGL, lot of other Red Energy, Origin Energy, a lot of companies that you buy from them. They just work as a retailer. Main production is within the government. Ausgrid is the main production. Okay, don't think they are producing and giving you. No, they are just for maintenance. Government give it to them. You go and collect the money from the public and give the money to us. It's another discussion to talk about it. I'm not going into that discussion. You can check on the Ausgrid. Ausgrid is the main electricity producer. Defense will never be into private sector. No. It's national security. Come on. We cannot rely on private sector for this. Government needs to be involved directly in there. Okay, monopoly power may have possible advantages from economies of scale as well. Sometimes the monopoly is good because, like when they produce, like government is producing these things. Okay, when government is producing this water, the purifying water, producing this water, government is dealing with these things. The per unit cost is very low. So research and development, how about it lowers the total surplus? Okay, research and development. Okay, it says this. When there is a research and development, a lot of costing involved in here. Apple computers did not pay any dividend for 17 years before they invented iPhone. In 1992 and 1995, they last paid the dividend. After that, they paid, I believe, in 2012. That's what they did. Okay. Yes. Research and development is a huge expense. Big companies are involved in this thing. They do that. They actually normally get involved into research and development. Okay. So it creates deadweight loss. Consumer surplus falls with high prices than perfect competitive prices. So because of the monopoly, they can do the research and development. Because they do the monopoly, they have lots of profit. And they spend this money in research and development because monopoly companies, they have to maintain the unique features of their product. So to have the unique features of the product, they will have to continue the research and development. When they do the research and development, their production cost is too high. When the production cost is too high, the price is also high. When the prices goes high, consumer surplus will be reduced. Very simple. That's what they mean here. Producer surpluses increases, but consumer surpluses decreases. Okay. Total surplus, total loss of total surpluses, society losses from non-competitive output. The effect of monopoly on total surplus, deadweight loss, welfare loss, deadweight welfare will be loss. Okay, so there will be big deadweight loss because if you go back, wait a minute. Look at deadweight loss. So monopoly market will be producing this line will be much more on this side. Let me draw it. I'll take green, blue. They will start to produce in here. Think how big the deadweight loss will be. Then the deadweight loss will become this big. Look, from here to here, then from here to here, then from here to here. See, monopoly will have bigger deadweight loss. Okay, the monopoly market produces less and sell at higher price. All right, let's move to the next point. Okay, that's what they try to show you here, the monopoly market. You see that, monopoly market. So here the deadweight loss is from here, here, and here, supply curve. This is our deadweight loss. I'll draw again in here. Nice. This is deadweight loss from here, here, and this one. This is deadweight loss. This triangle. Okay, that's deadweight loss. Yes. Okay, yeah. So this is your demand curve. This green line is supply curve. The marginal cost curve will become supply curve. Okay, supply and demand, and this is the quantity they produce. How much they produce? They will produce where the marginal revenue and marginal cost curve intersect. This one. Yeah, deadweight loss from the market. Government interventions. How does the government intervene? So what do we do about market failure? Okay, government need to interfere. Okay, government need to first government establish and maintain a property right. Government have law and order need to be tightened up, that nobody can steal somebody else's property. Law, so they establish and maintain the property rights. Uses non-market mechanism to allocate resources. Not the market mechanism only, demand and supply is not the mechanism only for distribution of resources, they use something more. Uses equity and fairness criteria to redistribute income and wealth. When BHP Billiton, okay, production plant is established in Wollongong, produces market goods, steel, cement, etc. But the production plant also creates pollution causing health problems to the local people. What should the government do? Pigovian tax will come up now. Arthur Pigovian tax. So government imposes a tax on culprit. impose a tax on culprit equal to the negative externality they created. Okay, this is the Pigouvian tax. Arthur Pigou, he actually offered these things. Okay, uses of taxes and subsidies, the optimum size of the tax. If they are doing some negative externality, tax them. Positive externality, subsidize them. Okay, that's how they mean. Okay. So correcting externalities is in here. Now remember that the supply curve is changing. It means production sector. So if they're producing at marginal cost at these blue lines, that general equilibrium point, government will tax them. Government will put a tax or government will put a quota. You cannot produce more than this. Government will tax them. Okay, so that their production goes down. Like we remember we said that, oh, then produce less. Who is going to produce less? Nobody going to produce less. They see there is a profit, they will produce more and more. Okay, government need to interfere in there. How government going to interfere? Taxation. Okay. Also, government can actually produce more and more public goods so that people get these things in as a public goods free. Okay. Provision for public goods like street, footpath, legal system, national defense. These are the various types of public goods we have. So, also due to the ignorance and poor decision making, people are unable to equate marginal social benefit equal to marginal social cost. This is asymmetric information. So what government does is government includes more merit goods because people has lack of knowledge about the goods. Merit goods people will include. Merit goods are education is a merit good. Healthcare system, school, hospitals, merit goods. These things will bring good to the society. The positive for the society, the merit goods. So government needs to bring more and more merit goods. That's how the government will try to compensate the market failure. Government can bring up regulations. Like you cannot sell cigarette to the kids who is less than 18 years old. Government interventions. If there is very extreme monopoly system in the monopoly is there, okay, government will bring the rules. Australian Competition and Consumer Commission, ACCC will come in, interfere in there. Price fixation, predatory pricing, resale pricing, margin, working like a oligopoly as a cartel, government will interfere there. Okay. Yes, who is that? Zhu Jingjian. All right. Okay. So government provides more merit goods and more public goods government will bring up. So as a result that people get more knowledge, more aware about the societal benefit and societal cost. Okay. Environmental charges. This is a very nice thing in here. So like in Rudd government, Julia Gillard government, Rudd government at that time, they impose carbon tax. 5% carbon tax they include. But the problem occurred when they want to measure how much. So how much to pay? 5% we understand on the basis of carbon production or on the basis of product production. Which one? Government could not come up with a good policy on this one. That's the problem. Okay. Another way to deal with this thing. Okay, I understand you want to reduce the pollution. We understand that. You want to reduce the production pollution. That's good. That's okay. But how do we measure the tax? Tax rate is 5%, we understand. On what? 5% of what? Another problem came up. The government, another thing government does is tradable permits. Okay, your product is making problems in the society, polluting our society. You cannot produce more than a specific quota, more than, let's say, not more than 2 million product, or not more than such amount they will give. Okay. It's a market-based approach to controlling pollution by creating tradable pollution permits. You can produce only this much you can produce, you can pollute. If you want to pollute more, you have to buy more permits at a higher rate. Yes, developed 1970s, emissions trading was introduced in the US 1990 to combat acid rain. But more recently, it has grown in prominence as a way of tackling greenhouse gases. Yes. What else we have? Emission trading is another way. That's what they do. Like government will actually find out how much to pay. Professor Ross Garnett, Garnett Climate Change Review, Australian National University economics professor Ross Garnett, to advise on climate change, not only has the issue forced its way to the top of the political agenda, but the economic environment has changed completely. Okay. Specifically, a credit crisis and a third oil shock are threatening a global slowdown, if not recession, and are already raising the price of carbon. This is the main form of emission trading is known as the cap and trade. So you put a capping system, not more than this. You cannot produce more than this, or you cannot do this. So these are the things the government actually tried to do. Okay, so that's what the Australian government tried in the past. They tried to actually put a 5% carbon tax, but didn't sustain much because the government wasn't in power. New government came up, they did something different. Yeah. I think that's all we got for today. Anything else for today? No. Any questions for me, guys?
No, all good, sir.
Okay, thank you very much, really. Anybody else? Any question? No? All right, let's do our attendance. I received a couple of emails regarding some of you had some issues with the midterm exam. Sorry, quiz.